Alright, so next up we have the Olympus 35 SP, which is definitely the most advanced of these cameras. And if you see in the viewfinder, it kind of has two interesting things. This is the meter window right here. Again, it has a center weighted meter. But the interesting thing about this camera is it also has a spot meter, which is pretty unique to rangefinders of this type and era. So if you flip it around to the back, you'll see this little button. I don't know if you can actually see it. Let's say, oh, I'm not going to focus out. It says spot. And that's a great little utility. One of the interesting things about this camera is the way you set the exposure. Okay, it's got an automatic mode as well. If you put the shutter in automatic and the aperture setting in automatic, it will just choose the exposure for you. You never know what it's choosing, so it's kind of like a black box, but anywhere between I think 1/15th to 1/250th of a second it will work. It has an ISO sensitivity range settings, I guess, between I think from 800 to 25. But the interesting thing is the way the meter gives you information, as opposed to modern cameras today that tell you shutter speed and aperture. It gives you EV, so it gives you everything in EV numbers. I don't know if you can see that, but even though I'm at f5.6, it's giving me a number of 16. Okay, and basically the meter inside, when you look through the viewfinder, I don't think there's the rangefinder patch, but you can kind of see that yellow line up there. That yellow line will give you the light reading in EV. And so what you would do is, if it says 16, well then you set 16 here. If it says 11 or so, then you set 11 there. And it works kind of like a Hasselblad meter in that it's coupled. Not a meter, I'm sorry, but a shutter. See, so now it says 12. And if your meter told you 12, you would go ahead and set 12 right there. Again, really simple camera. It's got a very bright viewfinder, pretty short focus throw, not very long, easy to shoot on the street. You know, you could always just put it on f8 or f11 and put it on a shutter speed and not worry about the focus that much, and just focus quickly and be a great little street camera with a 42mm lens. So a little wider than a 50, but a little shorter than a 35. A nice range. Definitely an interesting camera for the features it has. Spot meter is great for portraits and things like that. It really gives you some interesting metering ability for sure. And if you kind of use a zone system where you know you're shooting off skin and you want to underexpose or overexpose, it makes shooting black and white very nice. I think it's the largest of these. The Minolta is probably the smallest, as you can see. But definitely a great little camera, you know. I'm going to bring it with me this year in my pocket everywhere I go, just because I can put it in a jacket pocket and it's pretty flat and small.